I've been trading for 7 years and I've tried every complex strategy out there. But the one that actually makes me consistent money is actually pretty boring. You see, this month it's actually made me over $23,800. It doesn't require fancy indicators, it doesn't require daily bias, and it sets up literally every single day. So, in this video, I'm going to show you the full strategy step by step. Then I'm going to show you back-tested results to show you that the strategy actually works. So, like I said, this strategy is very, very boring, but it makes me over $20,000 a month. And as you can see here, look at it. It looks incredibly complicated. There's a bunch of numbers involved. Don't worry, we're going to clean this all up and make this look extremely simple for you. But as you can see, it's all numbers based. There's no patterns. There's no discretion based trading within this system. It's entirely mechanical and it is extremely boring, but it works. And before I show you exactly what the strategy actually looks like, as you can see right here, this is actual real results over the last 7 days of me using this strategy. I've made over $25,000 in the last 7 days. Now, what I'll do for you is I'll refresh. It might show my password and stuff like that. So we're going to scroll down very quickly. There we go. All right, so I refreshed the page and there you go. All those numbers are back. So as you can see, there's no way that I could have edited that. Over $25,000 in profits in 1 week trading this strategy. So without further ado, let's go ahead and break down the full Fibonacci continuation system from step 1. Now, the first thing that you need to do is actually go into your settings here, because this, in my opinion, is far too complicated. And I know that a lot of you guys watching this are probably, the people who watch my channel consistently, they know that I like simple strategies. I like things that are extremely easy to understand. Let's go into this here and let's turn off some of these values. We only need 5 values on this tool. So let's turn off 236, turn off all of these right here, and we're going to be left with just these 5 values. Take a screenshot of this or pause it and go set it up on your own if you need to. It's going to be 0.65, 0.618, 0.5, 1, and 0. Those are the 5 values that you need. Your fib is now going to look like this. This is incredibly simple, right? And there's only 2 things that I'm going to look for on this fib. It's either going to reject, price is going to come up and reject off of the fib, or break and continue, right? Those are the only 2 things that I'm looking for. And so we have to move to the first step of actually understanding this strategy, which is first going to be identifying trend. Because the way that the Fibonacci works is we are essentially using this tool to know exactly when price is most likely going to reverse and continue in the direction that we were originally wanting. What that means is very simple. So as you know, price always has to pull back, right? Price never goes in a straight line forever. And so the question always is, well, how do I know when the price is most likely to continue going in the same direction, right? How do I know how long that pullback is going to be? Well, using this Fibonacci retracement tool, we know that we are most likely to come back to this area right here. This is going to be known as your golden pocket. Now, this is the most important area on this chart by far, because this is the most likely point where we're going to have the biggest reaction. So you'll see it all the time where price is moving, comes back down, and then all of a sudden it will flip. Well, take a look at where that price is flipping. Draw out your fib, and I'm going to show you how to draw it out in just a second. But there's a large chance that we're either flipping at this golden pocket or we are flipping at the 50%. So these 2 areas are the most important things that I'm watching on my chart. Think of it like this and think of it like this. Right? So the first most important is going to be the golden pocket. The second is going to be the 50%. This is exactly how you use this Fibonacci continuation strategy. Now, there's one thing that I'm going to show you later on in this video that actually is going to make it a little bit different than what you might be thinking already. So if you don't watch to that point in the video, which is going to be probably later on because we're going to go over the entry model that we use, then you're not going to really understand this. So leaving early doesn't really do anything for you. So make sure you stick through this video. Now, let's take a look at exactly how we're going to use this whenever we're going into the actual charts themselves, right? We know we're looking for a trending market, and then we need to be able to find out when that market is most likely going to continue to make that move in the same direction. So for example, as you can see, we have this massive move here on NQ. And the main thing that we need to pay attention to is these points in time where we are creating these failures, right? These failures right here are going to be extremely important because these are where we're going to most likely try and catch that 50% entry to continue into our direction. Now, every time you see one of these big rejections that are followed by a push up, what I want you to do is start to utilize the fib tool So that way you can know exactly when price is most likely going to flip. The way that we do that is by grabbing our fib. Remember, it's the top corner over here. And you're going to grab from the bottom of the wick to the top of this wick right here, right? Because we're finding our range. So we want to find where the move starts and where the move ends. And so in this scenario, the move starts, it ends here, and it comes back down to flip off of the 50%. This is the same thing that you're going to see all of the time whenever you are trading, because honestly, the history repeats itself and everything is based on numbers. And so why not just use a strategy that has to do with actual numbers and not just discretionary based trading, right? So let's do this again, right? We have ourselves another bottom and another top here. We already see this. So all we have to do is just grab our Fibonacci retracement tool and go from this bottom to this top and take a look one more time. And we could even go to this one if we need to, right? Take a look one more time. We end up coming right back down to this 50%, and we end up taking a move all the way up. Over 264 points on NQ. Just to really clarify the math on that, if you would have taken this position, you would have made $5,000. So keep watching, because I'm going to show you how to actually enter this position, so that way you don't end up entering the wrong way, because there is a wrong way to enter. Now, before I show you that, I want to actually show you a bearish position because things are a little bit different. Now, on a bearish trade using the Fibonacci continuation, it's not going to be the same thing as we saw before. So you're not going to go from the bottom to the top here, right? That's not how you use the fib. Instead, what we need to do, think about it this way. Every time you use the fib, you want to go from left to right whenever you draw the fib. So what that means is, well, we grab from the top to the bottom in this scenario, from left to right, because here's your top and here's your bottom. Now, as you can see, we have two areas where we reject the golden pocket here to continue down for a massive move. Using my entry model, we would then have ourselves a, let's see, 373 point position at the very bottom of this trade. So these are absolutely massive trades that you can take using this strategy every single day. But here's the thing, you don't actually have the entry model yet. So you won't be able to actually replicate these results until you actually know how to enter these positions from start to finish. In case you're wondering, guys, this literally is the strategy that I trade every single day. I mean, I want to be as transparent as I possibly can with you guys. Take a look at every single trade that you're seeing here. They're all going to have the fibs within them. Even this trade here has the fib within it. I happen to take it off the chart, but this trade right here has the fib within it. Every single trade can actually follow this exact system. Even this trade that we took right here that went over 136 points. These are huge trades, and I want you to really lock in for this, because if you are able to do the same thing, you're going to see a massive change in your trading, and I really want you to be successful as a trader. By the way, those positions that you're actually seeing are alerted to my one-on-one mentorship program, so I do actually teach people one-on-one every single day. If that's something you're interested in, you can go to the first link in the description and apply to actually join me one-on-one. People like Riley here are passing 5 evals in one day just by taking the same trades that I am. So you think that you have the strategy down, right? You know how to place the fibs. So now the strategy is 100% guaranteed, right? No, that's not the case, right? We need to understand one main thing, which is going to be the entry model, because that's the most important aspect of your strategy. It doesn't matter whether you trade fibs, VWAP, EMA, order blocks. It doesn't matter what you trade. The entry model is the thing that is really going to make a huge difference within your trading. And so what I'm going to show you here is going to be called the TFC entry. This is very, very important. If you are watching this, continue watching. If you end up leaving and you don't have this system, it is going to bite you in the butt if you try to trade Fibonacci without the TFC entry model, okay? So lock in, let's fully get this taken care of. So the first thing you need to do, like I said before, is gonna be to actually draw your fib, right? We know that the fib is the most important thing on this chart at the moment. And we know that since we are moving, and let's go ahead and get a back-tested position here for you so that way you can see it happening. All right, so one thing that we know that we want to see is for us to come back down to either this 50% or this 61.8%. So immediately my thought is, all right, let's wait and just watch what happens on this chart. If we end up continuing here, so be it, right? I don't care if we end up continuing there or if we end up coming back down, because at the end of the day, there are always going to be more entries. I never force the position. But here we end up having this massive move to come down, which goes in my favor. the first thing that I'm thinking of is what is the reaction that we're seeing on this chart. So the entry model here is going to be based on one main thing, and that is going to be based on continuations. I want you to trade continuations in the market. And what most people do when they try to enter positions is they try to enter positions right here on the break of this structure. This makes no sense to me. Even if this thing does end up going, let's say, I don't know, end up going 100 points in the green, this is still only a 1.5 to 1 risk to reward trade. It makes no sense for me. My entries are always going to be significantly tighter, and I'm going to have over a 4 to 1 risk to reward when most trading coaches or people that trade are saying to enter somewhere around here, and they lose so much more money on the upside from it. So the way that we need to actually do this is by paying attention to one main thing, and that is going to be the way that we react to the level. So here, right, we can see one very important concept, which is going to be the wick at the level. I want to see strong buyers pushing off of this level. If we went to the 2-minute time frame, one thing that you're going to see right here is the moment that we touch this 50%, we do not push all the way down. We don't even push to the halfway point of this. We touch the 50% and we immediately push straight off. This gives me the understanding that we are most likely going to continue into the upside direction because of the fact that we are touching this and making that big of a move off of it. Now, do I want to just enter here at this fib area? No, that's not going to make much sense because at the end of the day, this candle's not over yet and can immediately come back down and stop me out. There's no reason to enter there. But what I want to do is secure the idea that this position is going to go my way. And the easiest way for me to clarify that that's going to happen is seeing a break of highs after we have the fib move. So after we have this fib move, if we were to come up and break this high now, that gives me all the understanding in the world that this is most likely going to go in my direction. So this next candle that comes out here, all I'm waiting for is a break of this candle, and I'm getting myself an entry on that position with a stop loss either below the 50% or below the golden pocket. It just depends on your risk, right? This is the only discretion part in the system, in my opinion. You can choose where to put your stops. I'm not going to tell you to put your stops below here or even above it, right? Above it makes no sense, but these 2 points are both points of invalidation. It just depends on how much risk you have. As you can see, right here, you have a 3 to 1 risk to reward. Here, you have a 2 to 1 risk to reward. So you're giving up an extra R just by adding extra risk into your stop loss, but it can always save you in the long run because you're giving yourself more breathing room. So that's something to just, that's discretion, right? But as we can see here, this trade ends up smashing TP. And if we were to look for overall targets, one thing that we can do, just as a quick reference for you, one thing that we can do is find overall levels on the hourly. So for example, we can find out where we ended up gap filling or where we ended up having like an area of liquidity. So for me, it's going to be this. This is the order block system that I use just for finding targets. If you don't know anything about the order block system, I'll link a video at the end that basically has all of my trading strategies that I use. And you can go through and watch all of that. But as you can see, this is where I would probably target in terms of overall having a place of liquidity for my target. And when we go to the 5-minute, I'll just go ahead and move this up here. When we go to the 5-minute, we could just let this trade play out. And as you can see, we end up coming up and actually touching that. I didn't know if it was going to or not. This is a 158 point position. Huge trade. And honestly, there is a possibility that it actually just kept going through that as well. And fun fact, this is the position that I actually took today. So I literally took the exact position that I just showed you, ended up being a beautiful trade that continued up off of the golden pocket. Now, this second trade is an example of how things can get a little bit tricky, but I still want you to utilize this entry model and I still want you to be able to see success using this strategy. So I have to show you this. This is very different from the last position. And we're kind of seeing a very similar thing though. What we want to see here is going to be what is the reaction at this golden pocket, right? And ideally, like you saw before, we want to see a break in lows for a continuation to the downside. That's absolutely no question. That is the number one thing that I'm looking for. But what we end up seeing here is actually a push down to that 50%. Do not enter here. This is number one mistake. Literally, mistake number one is people see the break and they instantly enter the position. The break does not equal a move all the way down, right? The break just equals we have a potential to make that move. What I want is a full-on security that this position is going to go my way, right? And the way that we get that security is by waiting for the retest of this golden pocket, or if we push down more, waiting for the retest of the 50%. It's always a retest game for me. And so what I wait for here is going to be either this break right here, right? This would give me a lot of confidence if this next candle comes down and breaks this 50%. Or in the scenario that we have right here, we actually come all the way up to the golden pocket before making the move. This is now going to be considered a fake breakout type of entry. And so if you don't know what a fake breakout type of entry looks like, it's going to be where we're actually looking like we want to make that break, but then we're coming back, retesting and breaking lows. So if we're able to now come through and break lows, this can give me a lot of confidence in this position, and we can set stops above the golden pocket or set stops above the 50%. It just depends on your overall risk portfolio. And then what I would do, or risk profile, not portfolio. And what we would do is we would target probably gap areas or just overall lows. This is a pretty handsome target. I don't know that that would be, yeah, that's way too large. So for me, I would probably target this area down here where we end up having this wick. Again, really, really large target. I would probably take trims along the way. But as you can see, this next candle ends up coming down, giving us another wick off of this golden pocket, which is another really strong confluence. And remember, guys, we haven't added anything to this strategy. This is just the fibs. After this example, I'm going to show you how you can actually add things into the fibs to make them even stronger. If you don't, like I said before, if you don't watch this, you are going to be missing out on literal gold. So I want you to watch the rest of this concept here. And as you can see, this thing does end up flying. Oh, too bad it was the end of the day. So the price action pretty much stops there, but it had a lot of potential to go all the way. This ends up coming down to lows and then just reversing because it was the end of the day. But as you can see, another very green position. If you were to have taken profits, you would have made 119 points on that position. Beautiful, beautiful trade. I probably shouldn't have chosen a trade that's at the end of the day. But for me personally, this is the exact same thing that I do every single day. Now, like I told you before, there is something that you can do that will make this strategy even stronger, right? We have the entry model and we have the fibs. What can you do to really double or triple the win rate of your strategy? We can add one thing, and that is going to be your EMA. Your EMA, one of the most like simple things in the world, but it can add an extra level of confluence into this position, right? So a 9 EMA, all it's going to do is give you an understanding of exactly where we're most likely to flip as well. So as you can see here, this shows that we're most likely going to flip at this point at the EMA, right? If we draw our fib out, you're going to see that we have a flip down here at the EMA, and we try to test the 50% and we fail. So this gives me an understanding with the break of highs, like we talked about before, that we can most likely get an entry right here. And I think that that's not even the entry that I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you this entry, but this lines up perfectly with it, right? So this entry, if you entered it, just goes for a very long time, ends up being over 300 points. It's the same thing over and over again. These students are becoming so successful as traders, but the reason why they're becoming so successful is not actually because of the strategy. At the end of the day, guys, the reason why these students are becoming so successful is because I'm actually working with them directly one-on-one, and I'm looking over their shoulder on every single position that they're taking. You can see here, I literally have one-on-one chats with every single student that I have active right now. So all of those students are directly working with me personally, and I'm helping them build their strategy, helping them solve a lot of these problems that you most likely have been through within your trading when it comes to psychology, your strategy, actually having a system or a plan in place. This is what I do for people. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can go down here into the description and go to this apply to work with me one-on-one page. This is going to take you to my website. You can go through my website and you can actually apply to work with me one-on-one. You get to hop on a call with me or my team, and we're going to actually break everything down for you, exactly what we can do for you one-on-one. And that's if and only if you think that I'm a good teacher and that I actually know what I'm talking about, right? I would not want you to apply if you don't trust in me or you don't trust in the systems that I am trading. Even the way that we're able to have students have 100% green weeks. If you don't trust this stuff, do not apply, right? I want you to actually watch through my channel first, gain that trust if you actually want to gain that trust, and then work with me, because that's That's all I care about. I'm going to be as transparent as humanly possible. I don't like working with just everybody. So if you're interested in that, go apply. And by the way, guys, like I talked about earlier with that order block concept, that's going to be right here popping up on the screen directly in the center here. It's actually going to be a playlist of my strategies. So if you want to, go through that playlist, actually click it right now because the video is about to end. Go through that playlist and just watch all my strategies. Literally binge watch everything. I have 3 main systems that I use together and I weave in and out of them all the time. So it's very, very fun and it is going to change your life as a trader because, man, I've changed a lot of people's lives and I've changed my own. So with that being said, guys, I will see you all in the next one. Adios, everybody. Goodbye. Click the playlist before the video ends. 3, 2, 1. Peace.